In March 2014, 11 Waikato Regional Councillors were taken through a trail known as the Totara Walk. The visit was hosted by the Department of Conservation and Waitomo Mayor Brian Hanna. The councillors were directed down the trail surrounded by impressive birdsong. About 3 months later, Regional Councillor Kathy White, who was also present on the original tour, revisited the site with Clyde Graf, who filmed the following video presentation.
Impressive, isn't it, Councillor White?
Yeah.
This is what can be achieved without aerial poisoning.
Yeah, exactly.
It was implied to councillors that the impressive birdsong was as a result of aerial 1080 poisoning operations. However, the visit appeared to be an orchestrated sales pitch to promote 1080 poison.
See all the markers?
Yeah, lots of them.
This is off the main track.
Yeah. And it still keeps going through there.
A small amount of off-track investigation revealed that this area is ground managed. Bait stations zigzag through the small, flat bush block. The Department of Conservation has stated there has been no aerial 1080 poisoning near here for over 9 years.
If you cut through, you can see there's a road right there. So are you telling me this is an aerial drop zone?
No, it can't be.
We've walked through to the other side using the little bait station tracks. That'll be a dock building up there somewhere.
Yeah.
A short distance from where we met the side road, a diphacinone poison sign was encountered.
You keep moving away and I'm trying to stop.
What?
Stay there.
Oh, I thought you were trying to film that.
This poison has killed a large number of endangered, short-tailed bats on a previous Department of Conservation ground operation.
It was that poison that killed the bats. What was it?
There were 70-something bats that were they were found dead, and when they tested them for residues, they found that there was this poison diphacinone, which was something that they were trialling as an alternative to brodifacoum.
And then there was a case where one cat killed 115 bats on its own.
That's right.
In the same area. They're using the same poison.
In the same area, and they are still using the poison because we can see these signs. That's right, and they've actually said that it's a cat, but they weren't tested for any poison residues.
A short drive of 15 minutes from the advocacy block would have seen the councillors arrive in an actual 1080 poison drop zone in the Poriora Forest Park.
Is this the boundary where it'll be dropped?
I'm assuming that green is the boundary.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Yep.
With genetic carcasses. Do not drink water in this area.
Yeah. Where does it say that?
It doesn't.
No.
Tell me if you see a bird though, because I would be interested.
Shit, just listen. Oh my God. I can hear one bird in the distance.
It's probably the kaka back at the Totara Walk.
It's kind of weird because there's a sound of nothing.
Is this the track?
Oh.
I'm wondering if, I was just thinking that there'd be, is this the track? Do you think?
Well, there's an orange sign there. So orange
I'm just-
triangles, I assume, mean that this
Yeah,
is the track.
yeah. I mean, I'm just wondering if it was like a bait station track.
Ah, well, it looks too well formed for it to be a bait station track.
This forest has been aerially poisoned many times, and it wasn't long before we found the first bait.
Saw a bait.
Yeah, I'm just off the track a little bit. So I thought, well, we've walked the track,
Okay.
we've probably cleared them. So if you pop over, you can just... I didn't get all of... There's a fantail somewhere. Here, little sod. Here's this bait down here. You can see that
it is too.
we've had, what, 200 mils of rain, and it's pretty well washed out, that one.
Good spotting.
Quite gooey as usual.
In 1979, a New Zealand scientist warned, most New Zealand land bird species risk being killed by feeding directly on baits poisoned with compound 1080 or by eating poisoned prey. In 2014, baits are twice as toxic and carcasses are still left to decompose in the forests.
Bait there, and another one just in here. On there. Just tracking a deer down here. Just watch that stepping those. Easiest route.
A short distance from the track, a week after our first visit, we encountered 2 poisoned deer.
Just a little guy, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, did you fly in here?
No, I've just walked in, and actually, you know, the thing that amazes me is that this is really accessible. I mean, I'm not someone who goes tramping regularly. It's a really irregular thing for me, and I've managed to find this off the track really easily. So we're really close to the road here. That's what surprises me. And also, this is completely accessible for somebody who's a trapper, who's experienced. There's absolutely no reason to drop poison in a place like this.
But these deer wander around and act basically like a vacuum cleaner,
Just
finding as many baits as they can, consuming them. And there's a 2-hour latent period, which means the deer don't feel that they're poisoned, so they continue to find baits, consume them, and they end up having an amount of poison in them that far exceeds what it's required to kill them.
Yeah.
So they're very toxic left in the forest like this.
2 baits are enough to kill a deer. 248 baits are spread across every hectare. This equates to tons of poisonous baits spread across water catchments. A short distance away, the mother of the poisoned yearling lies dead.
What makes it actually arch its head back like that?
Well, it's debatable, but they tend to be gasping for the last bit of breath.
Okay.
Keeping in mind the lungs are filled with foam and blood, so they're struggling to breathe. Often, as you stated, we see a lot of foam and blood out the nose, sometimes out the eyes,
Sometimes
and the rear end.
Out the rear end, yeah, I've seen that too.
There's been a bit of rain here since the drop, so that's washed away.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, there was a couple of piglets just over the hill there. They were
Yes.
They were GPS'd.
Yep.
Gets the pigs as well, the little fellas.
And I guess for pigs, if there are pigs in here, I guess anything like this kind of thing, they'd be quite likely to scavenge, wouldn't they?
They do. The pigs get onto this and they do consume it. Then that's a case of secondary poisoning.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it actually, because the poison label actually says that carcasses should be buried. In all cases, you know, wherever it's possible, carcasses should be buried so that there isn't the possibility of scavenging. And the fact that this is so close to the track, I find that really surprising. Do people attempt to bury carcasses?
No.
No.
Unless they're on the farm. And
Okay.
In fact, this particular drop, there's already been cases of farmers burying up to 6 pigs in one lot, and there's another bunch with a few dead pigs around their farms.
So is that more to protect their own dogs?
Yeah, you don't need poisoned carcasses lying around, especially in a forest like this, but these carcasses end up in the streams as well. That's why I just don't like that idea of drinking from the streams here, because you never know where there's going to be a poisoned carcass.
No, that's right. Well, you quite often find rats in streams, don't you? Dead rats.
And possums.
Dead possums. Yeah. Yeah.
Approximately 20,000 deer are poisoned every year in New Zealand.
We're only a 15-minute drive from where the councillors were taken.
Yeah, that's right. We're not very far away from the Totara Walk, which is where we went on the councillor tour. So that was right next to the road there. So yeah, this isn't very far away at all.
Impressive, isn't it, Councillor White?
Yeah.
This is what can be achieved without aerial poisoning.
Yeah, exactly.
We popped in here, Kathy. We came in here a week or so ago, and we went down below and had a look at the baits around the creek and etc. See this bait here?
Yep. Oh, is that it?
It's
Oh, yep.
impregnated into it.
Yeah.
It's still fairly good order, that one.
Yeah. It's not as decomposed as the other ones, is it?
It's just not decomposed, just the rainfall.
Yeah.
As you can see, so close to the waterway, which is right there, nice stream, beautiful creek.
Regional councils issue the non-notified resource consents that permit the aerial spreading of 1080 poison baits across New Zealand's forests and streams.
We've seen these baits all the way down. We've seen them scattered all the way down here so far, but to actually find them this close to the stream is a concern.
Well, of course, when the choppers go over, they're casting them across all these streams, as we've always pointed out in the past. They don't avoid the streams, these smaller streams. It's just straight over the top of them at the same rate as the land is.
Yeah.
Streams like this one supply water to local communities, dairy farms and agricultural operations.
And presumably with the amount of rainfall that we've just had over the last week, a lot of the baits that were further up will have washed down slightly as well.
Every hectare is spread with enough poison to kill 2,500 dogs, 1,250 possums, 563 weka, 113 deer, or 23 people.
On the Friday, there was an aerial drop of 1080 along the ridge line. On the Sunday, I had quite a frantic call from my mother telling me that the red cow was dead, and then she came back and found her daughter and brought her up, and she wasn't well. The first cow died on the Sunday, and then on the Monday I called at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock to have that cow autopsied, and I also had the second sick cow up here in the yards. She'd gone from being reasonably bad to bloody terrible. She couldn't stand, she was fighting to kind of keep herself together, so I stayed out of the yard and stayed on the outside, and then I called my brother to get the rifle.
Where is it? Down there. Let's see. Stuck on there.
I can imagine someone quite easily standing on that, not seeing it at all, and taking it home in a tread of their shoes.
Another one here.
Yeah.
See that right there?
Yeah. Well, that one's really
Dark,
quite soggy.
I'd like to see the warning added to warning labels, warning signs not to drink the water in these areas, because those sorts of poisons are sitting in there. Next flood comes through, you don't know when it's contaminated.
Yeah,
and you have carcasses in areas where there are more wild animals being poisoned. Those carcasses end up in the waterways too, and they're poisoned. Of course, what have we found in the way of targeted species?
What do you mean, today?
Yeah, how many possums have we found?
We found no possums, we found no rats, we found no stoats. In fact, there's not much of anything to be seen here, to be honest. It's quite startling.
All carcasses are left to decompose where they fall, be that on land or in water. 1080 causes secondary poisoning. All animals, birds and insects killed poisons the next feeder up the food chain.
We've bashed our way up to the track again.
Yeah.
But my point is this block, like what we've just been through,
Yeah.
There's more up above like we would like to have a look at. But is it comparable to the block where the councillors went? Because this is actually in fact an aerial drop zone.
Yeah. Well, no, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. For a start, I mean, that patch that we went to was quite flat, plenty of bird life. It was an area that nobody would have in their right mind dropped poison over.
Next
pretty
to the
much
road.
flat. It was next to the road. And yeah, mind you, I'm not sure why anybody would want to drop poison here either. It's perfectly accessible.
Or standing on a track.
I'm not a tramper, and I've just walked up and down the ridges and off the tracks. And actually there's not much noise, is there? Not compared to where we were before, where we heard quite a few different species of birds.
Doc's advocacy block.
Yeah.
Where they take councillors.
That's right. That's right, where they take councillors for a 20-minute walk of easy track. Yeah.
with propped up bird life.
That's right.
The councillors should have driven another 20 minutes up the road into the drop zone and actually been taken into a 1080 drop zone. Not an advocacy block.
That's right.
Thank you for your time, Kathy, and good evening.
You're welcome.
The Department of Conservation is poisoning up to 1 million hectares of national parks and forests in 2014. The department declares it will poison at that rate for at least the next 5 years. Offer your feedback by contacting some of the users and supporters of 1080 Poison.